Hi, everyone. I am going to go over argument evaluation. This is just one assignment that I've made up. Your other English teachers for like English 102 or 103 might have you doing something similar or completely different, but you will be learning um, how to evaluate an argument. It's part of critical thinking. All right, so this is my assignment, evaluate your argument. Background, basically self-evaluation can be a helpful task for everybody where you take a step back and see if what you're doing is actually what's being called for. And the great thing is last week we kind of started this process with the reverse outline where we took apart our essays to make sure that they actually functioned, that the paragraph by paragraph, or at least topic sentences, functioned together. The intent is to objectively judge whether or not you're setting up a clear or factually based argument. This is kind of a key point here. The skills that I hope to see are reduce your paragraphs into ideas. You wrote a lot, which is great. Now we got to be able to actually reduce some of that to make sure, again, that we're hitting the points that we want to hit. Organize your ideas in a large logical order. Again, this is kind of just making sure that the reader can follow along. And then finally, judge whether or not a text is valid and or complete. This is kind of key. Rather than waiting for your teachers to tell you whether or not something is good or bad, you should know. I know a lot of students that turn their stuff in not knowing whether or not it's good. And really, sometimes, like even the good students will turn stuff in and they think that it's bad. Take a little moment, take a beat, and make sure that what you're turning in is good along your terms. But you have to be able to learn what your terms are. All right, process. Open a new document. Remember, I'm trying to go step by step. Uh, I open mine up right here. Title it your name and argument evaluation. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to try to have like the very nuts and boltsy parts. My last name is Lozada. Argument evaluation. Open your reverse outline. I'm running out of space here for me to see everything. Here we go. So here's my reverse outline. Remember, it has the prompt, the thesis. Notice I left my note there, need to answer second question. And then my review paragraphs. Notice it's just the topic sentences. All right. Review your reverse outline, look for your conclusion. And in this case, the conclusion is not the conclusion paragraph. This is basically the point of your argument, why students fail and what can schools do to help them succeed. You basically got two conclusions you're trying to make. Um, Summarize your conclusion in a brief statement. Title a section conclusion. Write your conclusion on the new documents. All right, so this is my new document. Notice I wrote conclusion right here. Great. Now what I need to do is I need to figure out what my conclusion is. Remember, this is the point of my paper. Chances are it's going to be in my thesis. My point is students fail because they feel insecure about school. Great. I've already pulled that out. This is awesome. Um, Insecurity causes failure. And remember, we got two premises or two conclusions that we are dealing with actually. The second conclusion is a solution. What we're saying is the best solution for this problem. And I'm going to write myself a note. It's missing. I did not write a conclusion in my paper, therefore I don't have a conclusion for this. I'm not going to grade you down for not having your conclusion because we're still early in the process. But I do, for not having a conclusion, but I do want you to name it. Don't just pretend that oh, I'm missing this, but I'm going to pretend that it's not missing. No, just own it. All right. Next step. Look at the for the different points you are making, both proving both one or both of your conclusions. Summarize each point, and it should say premises. Look for the different premises. you are making for what, and I'll change it when I'm done with this video. Summarize each premise. Sometimes you will have multiple paragraphs on a single point. Title a section premises and separate them into review and analysis. Write the different points that prove your conclusion in the new paragraph. All right, let me show you what I did. Notice I have premises, review, premises, analysis. And the premise is basically like how you're proving that conclusion, like the steps that led you to that conclusion. So let's go back here. And this is the tough part. We're going to need to take a look at our sentences and see what our premise is. So it writes about low-income student emotional health and security and their connection to feeling belonging in school. So I have security and emotional health, right? Emotional health and emotional security. So that's one premise. Emotional health and security. There is in low income students, there might be a problem already coming up here, but we'll have to talk about it. The connection between belonging and emotional health can also be seen in the article where he writes about how students with economic and emotional insecurity have fears that cause them trouble. All right, so we got, I missed the part. Emotional health and well-being gets in the way of belonging. This one, the next one was belonging and emotional health with economic and, so it's economic and emotional insecurity on this one. Emotional health. I think we could probably cut down the emotional insecurity and just say economic insecurity affects emotional health. And notice when we start doing this, this paragraph might be better up here, or this premise might be better up here, because I kind of need to know that money is an issue, right? And then when you get into emotional health and emotional security for low income students, you've already said money is an issue for emotional insecurity and emotional health. And then like you could say like specifically for poor students, and then you can start exploring the emotional health and security and blah, blah, blah. What do I got here? Recognizing this point is important. Stereotypes. Ooh. So now we have stereotypes and insecurity. Stereotypes and insecurity. This might be a problem. Unless we could bring in low-income students or we start talking about students of color, this no longer applies, right? Let's see what else I have on here. Continuing to support, he adds on, these are the paragraphs that I just kind of added, or the topic sentences that I just kind of added. In the book, Whistling Vivaldi writes about situations we have to deal with due to social identity. And how our identities might be uncomfortable in some environments. Ooh, okay. So this is about not belonging in some environments. This is interesting. I wonder if this actually might be more general and might be better fit earlier. I don't know. These two definitely go together. But I do have this interesting move here, emotional insecurity or emotional health, economics, and now we have stereotypes and insecurity. There's some interesting moves here. I have two, maybe three different premises. Let's do one more paragraph. Continuing to support, he adds how people have a mindset on identities and that impact their identities through their judgmental behavior. Ooh, this is a little weird. I'm going to ignore this one. Okay. So my premises are, and I'm going to even simplify it more. Economic insecurity, emotional health, stereotype threat, and social identity. All of this other stuff, well, I kind of need to know some of this, right? Gets in the way of belonging. Connects to insecurity. Connects to insecurity. Affects emotional health and belonging. There we go. So these are my premises. The nice thing about doing this activity the way this is I could then start playing with which order they go in. Like stereotype, threat, and identity might be better up here, mainly because it sets up this idea that identity is huge, and then economic insecurity and that identity, right? Basically being a poor student gets in the way of feeling of belonging. Now notice I've changed things a little bit based upon this argument evaluation. So now I have no premise. I have no premises for analysis missing, which is fine. I'm being honest. How do you prove your conclusion is accurate? Basically, I provide multiple pieces of evidence on, I'm running out of time, closely related topics. So in this case, identity connected to economics, identity connected to emotional health, and then again, identity connected to economic insecurity. I don't know why I have this thing twice. But identity connected to all of these things starts to show that identity is really the cause of students not feeling like they belong, right? Like where the insecurity starts with how the students feel about themselves, which then leads to failure. Now notice, I don't have anything that actually says insecurity equals failure. And I should probably say that. I am missing any direct link between identity and student failure. That means that I need to have a topic sentence. I need to fix that to make sure that there's a direct link. What information is still needed? Direct link between identity / insecurity and student failure. Solutions to the problem, basically for my analysis, right? What information does not fit? Stereotype threat might not fit, but if I call it identity, it might. Okay, so I got about 30 seconds left. That is a brief version of this activity. Thank you for listening. I will see you later.